In a world where tomorrow's blockbusters reign
and yesterday's classics are forgotten,
3 women intend to remember.
Hey everyone, welcome to Millennials at the Movie House, the podcast where 3 friends watch older movies and review them from our modern, everyday perspectives. I'm Betsy.
I'm Tracy.
And I'm Serena.
And today we are talking about My Man Godfrey from 1936, written by Maury Reiskind and Eric Hatch, based on a novel by Eric Hatch, directed by Gregory LaCava, and starring William Powell and Carol Lombard. Quick synopsis, Tracy, go.
Well, before I do that, I mean, as per usual, it's based on a book, but I am always curious. I like it when they include the author in the screenplay. I always think it ends up better, but that's just me.
Yep.
Anyway,
I can see that.
Yeah. This is about a rich socialite. There you go. Not a sociopath, which is what I wanted.
I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah. Socialite who is on a scavenger hunt, which I thought was really interesting, because bored rich people need something to do. And to earn like lots of points, they had to go find a forgotten man and bring him to the Ritz-Carlton. Is that where they were? At some fancy hotel.
Maybe. I don't know.
And first off, I love the term forgotten man. I don't know why. It's like romanticizing homelessness, but that's anyway. So they go down to like the city dump where there's a city of homeless people, and they find this guy, and the main character's sister finds him first and is very entitled, and he shoots her down. And the younger sister comes in and just talks to him like almost like a human being. And then kind of out of spite, he's like, if you win, will you beat your sister? And she's like, yeah. And he's like, all right, fine. I'm going to go with you.
Yeah. So
he does her a solid by going to the scavenger hunt. So she asked him what she can do for him. And he's like, honestly, you can give me a job. And she's like, fine, you can be my butler. She gives him some money to get like proper clothes, and he becomes this family's butler. And he ends up being like helpful to this whole family. So not only does he kind of turn his life around, but he kind of helps this family turn their life around. And he ends up investing. He ends up being more than just like the homeless guy. He comes from
a rich family and all that.
And then she falls in love. Everybody falls in love with him. The maid, the sister, the other sister, the mother, everybody falls in love with him. And at the end, he quits his job because he had taken money and invested it and had like created his own business and was like back on his feet. And then she chases after him and makes him marry her.
Good job. Boom. Clear, concise,
so,
boom.
Rom-com meets screwball comedy.
Yes.
Like the two together.
It really was a classic screwball comedy, definitely.
I loved it.
That's one of the things that is why it's heralded for what it is today. It's like, this is the quintessential 30s comedy that people loved and blah, blah, blah. This has an 8.0 on IMDb. 8 out of 10. That's insanely high.
I mean, I had fun. I
see
liked
why.
it.
Yeah. I was pleasantly surprised.
I have some notes.
I mean, there's definitely some things that can be improved, but my attention was there the whole time. I enjoyed it. It was funny. The acting was great. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Did you guys watch it in black and white, or did you do the revamp color?
I did the black and white because I didn't realize there was a color. And then
I did black and white
too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We all did black and white. Yeah. I was engaged the entire time, pleasantly surprised. Once again, didn't think a 36 film would do it for me. And here we are, black and white 36.
Can I just say that William Powell was very good looking, but he was better looking as a homeless man than he was a butler.
Oh my God.
It's because the whiskers are in now. The whiskers.
Yeah, whiskers are in. And then like when he was all like a butler, he had that like pencil mustache.
And
I'm
hate
like,
that.
Just either shave everything or keep the scruff.
Yeah,
it did. I'm like, you looked way better before. No wonder why she picked you up.
The mustache, if he could have gotten rid of that weird mustache, I don't even know
He
what they
was
call
still
it.
sweet though.
He was so sweet. I think like I kind of a little bit also fell in love with him throughout the film. So like I see why every single person, Cornelia, the mother, I mean everyone,
yeah,
the maid. At first I was like, why is she crying? Everybody
Even the father
loves
was
him.
like, you know, you're a
Yeah.
good guy.
Yeah.
Like,
I
only person who didn't like him was Carlo.
yeah, because he was like the better version of Carlo. I responding to what you said, Trey, about how he kind of swoops in and kind of saves this family, the ultimate dysfunctional family.
They were
position.
functional,
It was
dysfunctional though.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Because they were still like weirdly supportive, but kind of shot each other down, but we're still like, I don't know, still a family unit. I don't know.
Yeah. No, I watched him seamlessly weave in and out of each situation and different room, different problems, you know, different chaos. He weaved in and out seamlessly. And I thought, he is perfect for this family. This is just what they need. And I saw it before the end when everyone was like, oh, you know, before they all saw it, I was already like, I see you.
Well, it's interesting because I was a little nervous that they weren't going to explain that, because you can't just walk into a butler job. There is so much to know in the etiquette and everything. And that when he started just doing it, I was like, he has to have some sort of background. But I wasn't expecting it to be he knew how to be a butler because he was on the other side of the table.
Yeah.
And that's because, you know, which still totally worked. Like I bought that, but I was glad that they explained, you know, gave an explanation a little bit.
Yeah. Had they not, it probably wouldn't have been 8-point rated. It was also nominated for 4 awards. Oh, 6
Oscars. Yeah.
Okay. Moving on.
So I'm just going to put this here. Talking about his helping all of the family, you could see that the love interest was going to be with Irene, the younger sister.
Yeah.
I made a note that was like, he better not end up with Cornelia, because she's like kind of more
conniving and
however, they had better chemistry.
They did. And I think Cornelia was a better character all around than Irene. If I was an actress and I was given the choice between these two characters, I would have gone Cornelia in a heartbeat.
Yeah, she had better lines. She had better chemistry. She had maybe she was the better actor or something.
Complexity
and
something.
Everything.
Well,
and I was like, I didn't want them to end up together because she is supposed to be not the nice person, but she ends up being sympathetic, I think. And I think they had good chemistry.
Well,
I don't know what it was. Even when they were arguing at the very beginning, I was like, ooh, they have something.
They're on the same level.
Yeah.
And Cornelia learned her lesson. She, like you said, she felt bad at the end. She learned her lesson with the pearls. She learned that he was on her level and regretted it and everything. Irene was just there. She didn't, you know.
And even he said, he was like, I called you a spoiled brat because I was the spoiled brat. So they are like, talk about same level. Yeah. They were the same level.
Yeah.
And I think what really not broke me, but like made me really dislike Irene is when after she was thrown in the shower and she started jumping on furniture. And I was like,
that annoyed the Jesus out of me.
What is happening right now? How old are you? What is going on?
I was going to save this until we we fixed it. But since we're here, Irene's character really annoyed me, and she would need to change a lot for this to be a perfect movie.
Yep.
And a lot of it came down to, she should not have won at the end. She shouldn't have gotten her way at the end.
She was manipulative. She was manipulative, and the whole thing she did on the couch, super manipulative, and it's unacceptable.
Nope. You nip that in the bud when they're 2 years old.
Yep.
That's what you should do.
But anyway, okay. So let's jump right into the questions. Clearly we all have comments on it. We all generally enjoyed it. Top of the marquee. What was everyone's favorite part?
I don't have a good answer. Because I think my favorite part was just William Powell.
Yeah. I thought
he did a good job. I really liked I thought he was really good. I thought he did a good job playing that line between rich and poor. And I don't know. I thought he did a good job.
Yeah, you're right. He definitely jumped between those two. It was almost two different characters. And he really...
Yeah, it was believable that he was still the same person.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where you could see so...
Yep.
That was my favorite
part.
part.
At the core.
I want to
Yeah.
say I didn't solidify my opinion of him until he talked with his buddy, his Harvard buddy, and they had that kind of comedic under the breath conversation during the regular conversation. That was really funny to me. And I was like, okay, this guy, I like this guy here.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Favorite
So
part.
William Powell was your guys' favorite part. I think that's good.
I would say for me, the storyline, how it kept us guessing and it was pretty consistent. That part kind of in general terms was my fave.
That's good. Yeah, that's a good pick because
sometimes we can't follow a story, or sometimes there's holes in the plot, and this one was pretty consistent. So
it had just the right level of complexity to keep you engaged, but not so much that you were like, what is happening?
Right. Exactly.
Snaps. Good favorite part.
Good. Yeah, that is a good favorite part. My favorite
What about you, Betsy? Yeah.
Was whenever Mr. Bullock mentioned money, Carlo freaked out and threw himself on the lattice doors
drama. Yep.
And just stood there for the entire scene, just thrown against these doors. And it is hilarious. I love it. And it goes to, I know, Tracy, you like this because it's background acting.
Yep.
He is not the main part of this scene. Mr. Bullock is talking, but he's just back there. Just
Yep.
The drama, the whole family drama.
All I have for a note from him is melodramatic Carlo.
Yeah.
And it's so like staged and yeah.
When clearly the only song he knows how to play on the piano, and he's like the great artiste pianist, is O Chichonia.
Oh my. So yeah, all I can say about him is he was, I don't know.
He was eating all the time. And you know how
he was just taking advantage of it because I think he was just another rich person's plaything. And he was like, fine, I'm going to get as much as I can out of this.
Yeah. And he did the whole monkey thing, like that monkey scene.
I mean, I feel like there's always a variation of this in reality, even where, it's somebody who's just being best friends with the rich person so that they can, mooch off of them.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey.
I think we each had good, solid answers for that question. All right, guys. Wheel of questions.
Wheel
of
questions. Oh, you should have said it. I said it. Good job.
All right. So we landed on 6 degrees. This is where we link the main character, the main actor of the previous movie with the main actor of this movie. So we are going Christopher Guest from Spinal Tap to William Powell of My Man Godfrey.
Can we just do the math real quick? What are the years we're
36
linking?
and 84.
36 and 84. That is a long time between. Was that 48 years? I can't do math. All right. So this is a hard one. Tracy, do you want to go first?
Sure. So William Powell in My Man Godfrey was in Mr. Roberts with Henry Fonda.
Okay.
Who is the father of Jane Fonda, but they were also in On Golden Pond together. So I put that in there just in case we didn't want to do legit. That. So it's legit.
Solidified.
So Jane Fonda, who shout out to 9 to 5 that we have done. But that's not the connect.
And Cat Ballou.
It's not the connect. Oh, and Cat Ballou. Anyway, so Jane Fonda was in Stanley and Iris with Robert De Niro. De Niro was in Sleepers with Kevin Bacon.
6 degrees
of Kevin Bacon.
You get bonus points for that.
Oh yeah, that's like a bonus right there.
And then Kevin Bacon was in A Few Good Men with Christopher Guest.
Well done. Okay, I have 2. One is a stretch and one is legit.
Ooh, I love it.
The stretch one is starting with William Powell was in My Man Godfrey with Carol Lombard. Penny Marshall, her first name is actually Carol, and she was named after Carol Lombard.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I will only accept that because she's named after her specifically.
Yes.
If it was just like her name is, I would have been like, no. But
and then Penny Marshall and Marshall and Michael McKean were in Laverne and Shirley together. Michael McKean is in Spinal Tap with Christopher Guest. Okay, but here's my legit one. Okay. William Powell and Alan Mowbray were in My Man Godfrey together. He was in a Broadway production called Enter Laughing in 1963. Enter Laughing was based on a novel written by Carl Reiner. Carl Reiner is the father of Rob Reiner, who's in Spinal Tap with Christopher Guest.
Wow.
Yeah. All right, guys. Good game.
Betsy, I'm glad you had 2 because I had 0, so that makes up for me.
Yeah. No worries. I mean, like I said, this was a hard one. I had to work for this one.
When you landed on it, you were like, I don't think we're going to do it.
Yeah. All right. Wait a minute.
Wait a minute.
What movies have we reviewed that this movie reminds us of? So I'm going to go first. The most obvious one that popped into my head was The Shop Around the Corner when he started singing Ochichonia.
Oh, that's funny. I didn't even think of that.
Because these are the only, like, I've never heard this song outside of these movies.
Yeah.
But yeah. Huh. Okay. And then the other one that really popped into my head was Singing in the Rain, because Irene reminded me of Lena a lot in the fact that she would have done anything to convince herself that Godfrey loved her.
Yeah.
Except that in this case, Irene actually got her man and Lena didn't.
Well, we're going to talk about that more. We're going to talk about that more.
Wait, what was the movie?
Singing in the Rain.
Singing in the Rain.
Okay.
What do you think? I'm dumb or something?
Yeah, that.
I'm going to compare it to First Ball of Fire.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the only reason why is we have somebody who's kind of out of touch with things a little bit. So you've got like, this is a stretch, but you have somebody who's out of touch who brings in like a person who is in touch and kind of helps them each other
out.
I
could totally see that.
And then end up falling in love with each other. So that was a stretch, but that's what I really compared it to is The Most Dangerous Game.
Yeah.
And it's because you have these rich bored people. Like they don't know what to do with themselves. So they make this game to like that basically screws with other people's lives.
Yeah.
And granted, in this movie, it kind of works out for Godfrey. Like it really does help him and he helps this family. But I had this, it could have gone horribly. You know what I mean? Like they were treating people's lives and to Irene's credit, she does kind of see that and she does fall in love with Godfrey before she knew that he was like her same status and that kind of thing. She really did see during the game, she made this realization that was like, wow, we're really just using, you know what I mean? Like she had that she say something to him that
there was promise in her character.
There was at the beginning. And then she lost it. I felt like, you know who she was? She was Eric from Boy Meets World, where at the beginning, she's really smart. And at the end, she's really dumb.
Yes.
What the hell happened? How do you go backwards like that?
And I think it happened when there was a shift between the main character, because I kind of got the sense that Irene was going to be the main character and then it shifted to Godfrey and then they took all of Irene's character away.
Yeah, I noticed that.
I don't know why that happened. If Godfrey's the main character. I mean, I understand that like we started with Godfrey. I don't know. Anyway. Serena, did you have anything for this question?
I don't know. I think I was getting the same vibe about The Most Dangerous Game, but I couldn't place why it was making me think of it. But Tracy pretty much just explained it for me because I was like, why is this movie? It was the scavenger hunt. It was the game. Yes. The scavenger hunt game. And as soon as like within the first couple minutes of the movie, I'm like, this is reminding me of something. And I think it's The Most Dangerous Game, but I'm like drawing a blank on the details. But then I had no idea where this movie was going. Like I didn't know where we were going with this.
I didn't either.
And then the chaos in the building with the goats and this and that. And I'm like, what the heck is going on over here? So I didn't know where the movie was going. And then, it went where it went.
I'm going to shout out a movie that we haven't done, but I know that this is one of your favorite movies, Bets. It reminded me of Mrs. Pettigrew Lives for a Day. Where like she was kind of like down on her luck and she's kind of taken into this whirlwind of a rich person and they both kind of help each other out.
Yes.
And that's where I kind of thought it was going to go. And it kind of did. But.
Yes. Oh man. If only Irene was Delicia. Yes.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good comparison. I appreciate that, Tracy. Good job.
Thanks.
I love that.
Good movie.
It's such a good movie. Okay. So yes, we had answers for this, but it still felt very unique. It was a unique storyline that I really haven't seen done a ton, since they did a remake, I guess, in the 60s, which.
Oh, really?
Yeah. With, with a name. I don't remember who it is, but somebody famous is in it. But I could definitely see a variation on this nowadays. And anyway.
Yeah.
Ladies, please remove your hats and silence your cell phones. How does this film hold up? My only comment is it forgives the upper class way too much.
Yeah.
So
I noticed that too.
It doesn't, at the end of the day, they really aren't held accountable for their own actions, except maybe a little bit Cornelia, but the women don't learn to budget. It's just Mr. Bullock comes into money again, which is not.
And basically he made a wrong investment and didn't take the advice of Godfrey.
Right.
And lost all his money.
Right.
But then didn't.
Right. Because Godfrey's just like a really good guy.
Right.
Yeah. For real. I know. Like he went above and beyond and helping save this family on many levels. It kind of rolled over a lot of things with the socialites. Is that what they're called?
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't until Godfrey kind of spelled out at the end, he's like, oh, you guys all helped me, so I'm going to help you. It wasn't until then that I kind of registered that there was more character development happening with him than, than what I was seeing. Behind the scenes. Is fine, but that was supposed to kind of forgive their behavior, and it didn't for me. So I feel like that didn't quite hold up, but
and it kind of
taught them a lesson. He was trying to teach them a lesson by showing them what good people do.
It did, but his arc is kind of, he wanted to be one of them again.
Yeah.
So he kind of took this money and then transformed, and to his credit, he made this club at the end for himself where he moved out all of these homeless people, but he did give them a job and he did give them a place to live. Like there were places for his staff to be. So
I didn't quite get that he wanted to be one of them again. He just wanted to live again. He
that's fair.
Because there was during one of his monologues, he basically said he was like ready to kill himself. And then he found the men at the dump and they brought him back. And then the family kind of rehabilitated him. Like, I don't even know. It was all of this was in a monologue. So
yeah.
Yeah, I didn't mind his story. It was kind of like a heartwarming type, not coming of age, but kind of like showing the challenges that he went through. And it's not all like, butterflies and rich people thing, but I think him being one of them is like, he wants to have money again, but he also wants to be a good quality human being, or at least that's what I was gathering.
I mean, overall, I still really enjoyed the movie, but if you're gonna,
it was a good story.
Yeah. And we're
not going to fix the whole world with just one story.
Yeah.
Right.
True.
And I can definitely, it would only need a few little tweaks to kind of properly update it and, make it a good story today. None of these are like deal breakers. Definitely. This is still a fun movie to watch.
Yeah.
Did anybody else have any answers for this?
I think in terms of things holding up, I think that I guess the fashion for both, but I always say the women's fashion, I feel like that's kind of come back around.
Oh yeah. Some of it.
It's gorgeous outfits.
Gorgeous. Yeah.
You know me in fashion.
Oh no. Yeah. I got you.
I'm like every time someone stepped in the scene, I'm like, what are they wearing?
Let me just say, I noticed this a lot, and I don't know why I don't give credit to older things. I always think like our generation is so witty and quippy and that kind of, and I never think that the same humor has lasted throughout the ages, and it really has.
Oh yeah.
So there was some definitely good quippy conversations that I would have today. Like there was Godfrey and Irene would have this conversation. She's like, can you please have an intelligent conversation for a minute? And she's like, well, I'll try. And there was another one at the end where she's like, oh, I like your view. How long is that bridge always there? And he's like, yeah, most often it's always like,
yeah. They're very sarcastic.
Yeah. And then I think Cornelia was Cornelia married or have a boyfriend, or
I think she had a beau. Yeah. I think that's
I kind of noticed a guy.
She was at the bar or something, they were having a drink, and she goes, will you do me a big favor? And he immediately responds with, who do you want me to kill?
Mhm.
Yeah.
And she goes, "Oh, I do my own killing."
Yeah.
And
I
it
like
was
that.
so like, I
Yes.
think I've had that conversation. That's like, absolutely, I'm there. What do you want me to do? So I give the writers credit for being funny and having these just off conversations that are, are
Well,
good.
I feel like that was what's the word? It's a hallmark. It's a hallmark trait of 30s movies is that really fast-paced dialogue.
Quippy, yeah.
Yeah. And like for some reason we've kind of associated it with reporters from the 1930s, but it's really just dialogue in general and from movies in the 30s that it was heightened dialogue. It's good stuff.
Yeah.
I noticed that right off the bat, I liked some of the things. There were some good, definitely quotable moments that I should have done better about writing down. But the first one was, remember the one he's talking about with the prosperities right around the corner. And the other guy's like, I wish I knew what corner it was. And he's like being like, trying to be positive to his buddy who's also living, in the trash heap or whatever. And he's like, oh, I wouldn't worry. Prosperity's just around the corner. And he's like, yeah, it's been there a long time. Just wish I knew what corner it was.
Yeah, that was good.
Please.
I actually really liked they only had a few scenes, but the other homeless men, they were good representations. They wanted to work, they were intelligent, they were upbeat and, trying to be positive and just down on their luck. And they were good characters.
Yeah. And they came back at the end.
Right. Yeah. Right. All right, let's move into Boom, We Fixed It, because I do want to talk about Irene some more.
Yes. Okay.
At the end of the day, the more and more I think about it, the more her character annoyed me. And I think I definitely already touched on it. It was just that she didn't really have any character development. And the thing is, I know that we can just chalk it up to the fact that it's from the 30s and whatever, but we've seen well-written, complex female characters at this stage, so it's not
unheard of. It's not impossible to be asking for such.
Exactly. So
well, I think they were trying to chalk up a lot of her character defects and flaws to the fact that she was just emotionally unhinged and like on part of the cuckoo's nest type thing, and they just were like, oh, she's just they didn't say she's crazy, but they basically were like, she's living in La La Land or whatever. And they basically chalked it up to she's not all there.
Which is fine, except that she gets Godfrey at the end.
Yeah.
That's the only,
I know. I couldn't believe that.
Keep her character that way and Godfrey does not get her. Like Godfrey's like, oh my God, get away from me. Mm-hmm. Or they give her a character development and she earns Godfrey.
Yeah. Yeah. I kind of felt like at the end there wasn't the earning.
Exactly.
Hopefully she'll turn off the drama.
Not if that's how she gets she's proven that that's a successful way of getting what you want.
But notice when she was having that fit in the room that Godfrey was the only person that didn't feed into it. And he was completely ignoring her when she was trying to manipulate him. When she was like, no, I don't want any, thank you. And he's going around with his hors d'oeuvres and he's just completely cold shouldered her and didn't feed into any of the BS like that.
Yeah. But then she turned it up. Then she turned up the melodrama and at the end marries him. He never
forced him into it.
Right.
But so that my major comment is, and I wrote at the bottom, where's the kiss? Like she kissed him.
Yes.
But there was no and one of my main complaints about any movie is I didn't where's the build up to the relationship? But at least they usually have that the kiss. You know what I mean? They have that, oh, we do love each other. All of a sudden I'm in love with you. Let's kiss. We didn't have that. Even at the end when she's like, here's the minister and a witness.
We don't really know if we didn't know if he liked her.
Yeah.
I will say there was one scene that gave me hope. Do you know? And it's the kitchen scene.
Oh yeah.
Yes. And
where she's
trying
a
real conversation.
They had a real conversation. She was very even and normal
when she wasn't manic.
Right. Exactly. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And he even was like, I did miss you. And you're a good friend and all that. You saw that glimpse of their actual relationship in that moment.
You did, but it was still, I felt platonic. It was real, but it still felt platonic, which is fine. Like you can have great platonic relationships.
Yeah.
So I actually had to go back and watch the end of this movie again. I was like, I think I missed a scene. I wasn't paying attention, or maybe I was making notes or something. So I watched the last half hour again. And I made the comment that I missed it. I missed a scene. So I did find the scene where I was like, there in the movie, there's that one point where he switches, where he's like, okay, I do love her. And I did find it. It was not convincing, but there is a scene where when he's talking to Tommy, when he goes, oh, I think his friend's like, oh, that's big talk from a butler. And he goes, ex-butler, you mean? He's like, oh, were you fired? And he goes, no, I quit. And they're like, well, why? And Godfrey says, I felt that foolish feeling coming on again. And
oh,
Tommy,
yeah.
And so he's like, I felt that feeling coming on again. And Tommy immediately goes, oh, you mean Irene? And he's like, what do you mean? Like, he was very like, no, did anybody else realize this? And she's like, yes, everybody knows that she's in love with you, or you know,
everyone knows except for you.
And it's, yes, you know what? I completely forgot about that moment because it was just out of nowhere and it didn't fit. And so I kind of like blocked it because I was like, oh, that doesn't fit with the rest of the movie, whatever.
Right. And it quickly, it just was in the middle of a conversation. It wasn't even like it. And I'm like, that was the only part that I felt like he reciprocated.
Right.
So like I said, if she had come in and all this stuff, and even if he had just said, you're crazy, and then kissed her, then it would have been like, okay, he does love her or whatever. But it was
right. I will say when we discovered that Alice loved him too, I was like, oh, yes.
I was like, okay, let's have them like
just reframe it so that it's like,
wait, who's Alice? Do you mean Molly?
Oh, I'm sorry, not Alice, Molly.
Okay. Yeah.
She's mixing up Brady Bunch.
I am, because I'm sorry, Alice Brady is one of the actresses. And so I was like, the Brady Bunch, and it just was all over.
I'm like, I knew what you meant.
Exactly correct. Yes. Anyway, no, Molly. When we found out that Molly was in love with him, I was like, yes, I love this. And it would be like the rich guy falling in love with poor girl because he was pretending to be poor. That's a Hallmark movie right there. Boom.
Yep. Boom. And I loved her character too. Like from the beginning, you walk in on her doing the crossword. Like I was just like there for her.
Well, and it was like, I was a little nervous that she was going to like try to like
scare him,
prank him, but like, you know, sabotage him.
Me too. But she didn't know.
She was like, I'm not going to like hold your hand, but I'll help you. Like, here's the ropes and all this stuff. And
they had good little butler and maid chemistry going, but not like chemistry like, you know, love.
No, but especially in that scenario, you have to work together very well.
Yeah.
Can I say one more thing about Irene?
Yes.
So when she's like, I guess when she was rejected or something, she goes and to a party and there's this rich guy who wants to get with her. And he's like all literally up in her business.
Oh yeah.
And she says, just because some people have $1 million doesn't mean that they can try to put their arms around other people.
Oh, I love that. That was one I wanted to write down.
So I was like, okay, yes. So she's like, don't touch me. Just because you've got money doesn't mean that you can touch me and control me.
Yep.
With the exception of that's exactly what she's doing to Godfrey. Just because she's rich and she's in love with him doesn't mean that she can go and just marry him, except that she does.
True. Good point.
Anyway, that was my last comment on her. So anyway, that's my last thing. What were you going to say about the mother? Because she was also a character.
Yeah, let's move into. So I'm going to jump into notes roundup just to say we're in the next category because I'm going to talk about the mother, but it doesn't have anything to do with Boom, We Fixed It. The mother was hilarious to me. I thought she was super funny. And she is the only character who I'm like, yeah, you don't need to have character development because she's just that mother. She's that person.
That's who she is.
Yep. And her comedy stylings actually reminded me a lot of Madeline Kahn, who she's such a great comedian. So she just reminded me of her style and she was just hilarious. Yeah, that's all. Yeah. That's all I have to say about the mother. I thought I was going to be annoyed by her, but I wasn't.
Because she had this, that's who she was, but she wasn't malicious.
Right.
Does that make sense?
She was in her own little world.
She was just very, and she, you know.
And she was more than happy to have you join her in that world.
Yeah. Yep.
No problem.
The people were walking around, the little people. And
she was like, she'd be like, oh, that's okay. I'll accept that. Just
She was definitely on some 1936 medication. That's now outlawed.
Yep.
All right. So notes roundup. Anybody else have any other comments?
I covered mine.
All right. So the Martini Shack guys, would you recommend this movie?
Yes, I would recommend this movie. I had fun. I thought it was fun.
Same. Yeah. It was fun. It was enjoyable.
Yeah.
You were engaged. You know, you could laugh with the characters. And
I feel like it's probably top 10 movies that we've done, I think.
Really?
Yeah. I would
Interesting.
but I wouldn't like it doesn't top like the top 3 or top 5 where I'm like,
No.
sit down, you need to watch this. But this was very
Yeah.
this was not a waste of time. This was very
No,
good.
yeah.
I had fun.
So that's a wrap. 3 yeses.
All right, so
I would
3
say
yeses.
yes. And I'm shocked that the black and white didn't deter me. I know I shouldn't be, but
Here's the thing about black and white. If a movie is in black and white, it was shot for black and white. Even though it could have been colorized at a later point, it was meant to be black and white.
Yeah. It always kind of looks strange.
because we're so used to overstimulating bright colors, everything's just electric, right? No, I don't know. I don't know why I always feel, here we go again, pleasantly surprised.
All right, guys. Thanks for joining us. If you like what you hear, you can find more great episodes over on our website, www.millennialsthemoviehouse.com, or wherever you find your podcasts. Curious about updates, extras from our episodes, or want to add your 2 cents about a reviewed movie? We're also on Twitter and Instagram. Our handle for both is @themoviemillies. Check us out and make sure to follow us. So until next time.
We're millennials.
And we'll see you at the movie house.